I just want to make things is the thing that I hear people say the most. Maybe only second to, I just want to help people. And in a modern world where so few of us actually make like real things anymore, like physical things that we can like touch and feel, there's a loss of fulfillment and satisfaction and like immediate kind of return on our effort and our labor. And I don't just mean in a work context, even at home, like we barely, everything can be delivered and like brought to our doors. Someone else can take care of it. Like we don't have to know how to do things anymore. But I don't see the world shifting that much or that many of us wanting to revert behavior. So one thing I'd put forth for consideration is you're the maker of your life. That the thing you still get to make, no matter how our world evolves, is everything within your life. You are the maker. You are the liver, you are the creator, you're the experiencer, and no one else is going to do it. Right? The only person that's going to make decisions and do and execute things in your life is you and me, for myself. And so if the whole thing is the masterpiece that we're building towards, no matter how much time we have here, then we are the only artist and maker of that life, of that masterpiece. But a lot of us don't see it that way. It's just this life that we're living, and we ask a lot of questions, struggling with, who am I? What am I doing? What am I here to do? Is this the right path? Am I making the right choice? Should I go here? Should I move here? Should I work here? Should I enter this career? Should I date this person? Should I, kind of talk to this family member? It's all these things about what we should be doing. And in the end, like, if we look at our life as everything we're making, from the relationships we make with other people to the labor that produces something on the other end in our work, whether it's our passions and our hobbies and how we engage with those, whether it's our everyday life, whether it's just making it run smoothly, from getting groceries to cooking a breakfast to making a coffee to making your bed to taking a shower, like those are all the makings of our lives. And if we think about ourselves as the artist, we are the director, we are the creator, we are the creative, we are the ideator, we're also the strategist, we're also the executor and the doer and the cleanup crew. But if we think about it as a masterpiece, it's not kind of, 5 paintings all in one. Maybe there's a series of paintings, but at least within one painting, it's not 5 different scenes you're trying to portray in one painting. There's something cohesive. There's a story. There's something that's being expressed. And so a consideration is, what are you expressing in your making, in your masterpiece, in your art, in this life? What are the foundational things that make it what it is, that make it, and on top of that, make it meaningful? Because even if we don't put any intention towards it, it's going to go somewhere. But if we were to put intention towards it, what makes it meaningful, fulfilling, valuable, like a life worth living, makes us feel alive? What are those things that are going to ground us as the maker of our lives? And an unlock to the masterpiece is integrating our lives and not feeling like we have to be this person with our family and this person with our friends and this person with the partner and this person at work and this person by ourselves, where maybe we feel the most free because no one else is around. But if we integrate all of it so that we show up in any space, with any person, under any circumstance, in any setting, just as the most honest us, there isn't a switching of hats that has to happen, or different masks we have to wear, or different parts we have to edit, or different things we have to hide. We can just be the unifying thread across all of this. And with that integration, we also get to show up and act and engage how we want to. We get to choose the people we interact with. That's the making of our relationships. Because whether it is a stranger or a lifelong friend or a family member, which I know we don't get to choose, but we do get to choose who we engage with in our family and how we engage, to our, people in the context of work, to our lovers and partners, to the people that we know just in certain settings, whether it's like a hobby or sport that we play, that they're kind of uniform. Not that they're the same, obviously, but they're unifying threads that make those relationships worth your time. And I say stranger because even the people we choose to engage with out in the world oftentimes have some unifying thread back to the kinds of people we want to be around. And so if we think about what those unifying threads are, not just across our relationships, but then also the skills we want to use, how we want to engage with the world and other people, what qualities we want to bring forth, what subjects we want to talk about, what skills we want to be using. And if we can find the unifying threads, whether it's if you have kids, with kids you may have, or whether it's with coworkers, or whether it's with friends, there are unifying threads because it's one person, it's us, that is showing up in each of those spaces, that is doing each of those things. And the more integrated that becomes, we don't have to feel like we're just, disparate parts at different points in time. Or even if you see it as a Venn diagram, that you're, a few different circles with only some small part that overlaps. Like, what if it's just one circle? Because you are just one circle. The life you're living is just one circle. And the attempt to section it off is what causes so much angst for us, and sometimes leads to pain and suffering, because then you start to feel like you cannot be yourself in these different settings with these different people. And so the more that we see ourselves as the maker of our lives, as the artists who have to figure out what this masterpiece at the end of the day, no matter how many years we have here, is going to entail, what we want it to feel like, what we want to express, what story we want it to tell, that's our job, is to figure out what are the foundational components, the fundamentals, the core ingredients that inform this masterpiece. What are the guides for us as the maker of our lives? Values and principles are one of them. Mission is another. Purpose is another. Our true selves is another. There's so many different things that can serve as guides. However, we have to figure out what those are. And for each person, they're going to be different. Even for all of us that say they want to help other people, how each of us want to help other people is going to look so different, because how we like to engage with people is totally different. What skills we have are totally different. How we want to engage with the world, not just people, but the world and our life in it, is totally different. And so even if half of the world wants to help people, how they do it is going to be very unique to them. And it's their job to figure that out. And the sooner we can figure out what those core fundamentals are, the core ingredients that inform the foundation of us as an artist and a maker of our lives, then the fun actually really begins then. Because we're not held back by what we think this masterpiece needs to look like. We're not held back by feeling like we need to operate a certain way in certain spaces. We just get to be us. The most real, honest expression of us, making our lives, making something quite tangible in this world, which is our individual lived experiences. And as that maker, it's our job to answer the hard questions, and these are hard questions. And I have figured it out over many years of experimentation, and there's still more to figure out in terms of realizing it. There's more I have to do. But what I figured out is the foundation and the fundamentals that are going to inform my making going forward. And to share that as an example, if it's helpful, is my making is entirely oriented around seeing other people and creating and hearing, but helping people feel seen and heard and understood so that they feel safe to be themselves, so that they can kind of move forth in the world with more authenticity, more honesty, so that they can stop obsessing about their own lack and anxiety around being who they are, and so that they can help other people. In the end, I do want to help the individual so that they can help other people, though, because in the end, I see it as we're all part of the collective. We're not here to just live a singular existence by ourselves. We are part of a larger collective. And my hope is that the more of us that are free and freed up to be our honest, real selves, the more of us will feel that we have capacity to help other people, to think outside of ourselves, to be empathetic, to be compassionate, to offer the $20 that we have in our wallet, even though that, is the last of our cash. And we're a little over budget this month, but someone who's homeless and on the street hasn't eaten needs that $20. Or be able to look at someone who has a completely different life than we do, and then on the surface has seemingly nothing connected to us. We're able to empathize with their experience because we're a fucking human being, as are they. And at the root of their struggles, it's not that different from the root of our struggles. That's what I hope for in the world, and that's my mission, is for more of us to be free to be ourselves so that we can step outside, stop spending so much effort and energy consumed with whether we are good enough, whether we are lacking, whether we, are able to just be ourselves, feel safe, so that we can just spend more time caring for others. And I do that across every realm. And I keep doing this motion because I'm oh, this is somehow cohesive. It's all together. It's what I do in my work. It's how I interact with strangers. It's how I show up for my friends. It's how I try and engage with my family, though family has its own set of challenges, but the relationships I have with my family are now of my own choosing. It's how I want to engage. Certainly they have to be willing as well, but I don't engage in any relationships that are not safe or worth my time. But the people are also uniform in terms of who I engage with, whether it's a stranger on the street, a client, a best friend. They're unifying qualities across all of those people, because that is also part of my making, who I choose to invest energy into. And the reason I'm drawn to a stranger on the street and have a conversation with them for half an hour, even though we've never met, is the same reason why I'm drawn to talk to my best friend for a few hours about their life. It's about understanding who they are and seeing if there's value that I can add, or being intrigued by what they're sharing with me. But the more we can unify all of it, the more integrated we will feel in our lives, so that we don't feel like we have to show up as different people in these spaces, or that we feel like we have to cut off parts of ourselves to be accepted. If we do more of the choosing, and we know what we're choosing for, we know what we're making in the end with all these choices that we're making, then all of it gets to be all the motions, all the different, all the hand signals that can show togetherness and cohesion and integration, so that we live one singular integrated life, that we're not trying to engage in different ways in different sections. We might still have our time when we are working, and our time when we are not, our time when we are playing, and our time when we are thinking about serious things, but we are basically working towards the same masterpiece in the end. And the way we engage with our life is consistent all the way through. And the freedom that gives us is a freedom to create and to make our life what we want it to be. There's a shit ton of hard work to actually make it happen. But the first step is to free ourselves from the constraints of what we think is possible. And so much of our world right now constrains us in terms of telling us what is possible, how we should feel, what enough looks like, how we should be. But if we truly see ourselves as the maker, then who is to tell us what to make? Who is to tell us how to make? Who is to tell us the right way to make? And all the rules. There might be interesting lessons, but we get to choose which ones we take in. We get to choose what serves our making. But that requires clarity on who you are as the maker, aka the real you, and what you want to make, aka like, what are your dreams? What's the mission? Why are you here? And yes, those are really hard questions to answer, but those are the questions. There isn't like a shortcut. There's no easy way out of that question and into an answer. And the only person that answer can come from is you. And so I hope that you'll consider, what are you here to make? What does that life entail? And who are you here to be as the maker of that life, so that you can start to make it happen?